Notre Dame has won the Orange Bowl, and Marcus Freeman is taking them to the championship game.
How's it going, everyone? I am Sean Moriarty.
I'm Benjamin Walters.
And I am Ryan Fravel.
And Ryan, it is great to have you back after a little hiatus.
Yeah, it's great to be here, man. It's been a while. Been a long time. Been crazy. It's been a crazy busy year. So, yeah, glad to be here, man.
And, guys, before we get talking about the Orange Bowl, let me just do this first. Yeah! Woo! I know I did that in a short after the game, but also I got to do this too real quick. I'm not doing you, Ben.
No.
I didn't realize that oranges tasted like victory.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. But getting right into things, gentlemen, what more can you say about this Notre Dame team that hasn't been said in the past couple days? This is, and I know you guys know the drill, subscribe to the channel, hit the icon bell, and like or dislike the videos. You guys know all that. But I just want to get right into it while my mind is on a roll. But, gentlemen, this is magic.
Yes.
That we are watching out of this Notre Dame football team.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And
there's a magic in the sound of their name.
Yes. And listen, I give nothing but props to the Penn State Nittany Lions. They came in and challenged us, fought us hard, just like Georgia did. And just that Orange Bowl was an instant classic, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was sad that a team had to lose, and I'm glad it wasn't us. Yeah, no, that was an incredible back and forth game. I think the last like 6.5 minutes were so freaking stressful for like both sides, not just us.
All right.
But, yeah, no, it was insane.
The bottom line is we came through in the clutch.
Yeah.
We made plays when we needed to make plays. And Christian Gray, man, he's the one that comes off the top of my mind. And number 2 is actually Mitch Jeter.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was about to say was like
just two guys that have been picked on, criticized.
Script, if you will, was awesome. Like, you couldn't have done it any better as a Hollywood writer. Like, I mean, to have Mitch Jeter hit the game-winning field goal to send us to the national championship. If anybody had told me, at the beginning of the season that was going to happen, I'd be like, no, sorry, no. And to have it happen to Mitch Jeter, who's been up and down, who's fought through injury, who lost his mojo for a while, awesome. Like, just freaking awesome. But I will say he did probably give all of us a heart attack when that ball came off. It looked like it was going to the right, and then it hung back in. So, yeah, like, just incredible. Absolutely incredible.
You guys want to see a field goal like that? The video is still up on YouTube. The full game is 2000 against Purdue when Nick Setta drilled the game winner against the Boilermakers in the final seconds of the game. Go watch that kick.
Yeah,
But back on topic here, guys. I know we got a lot to break down with the game, but let's just recap what's going on so far. So, lose a tough one to NIU. Roll out 10 straight victories, make the playoffs. Not only do we break the major postseason game losing streak against Indiana in the first round, but we're now bringing not one but 2 major bowl trophies back home to South Bend. And now we got a chance for the trifecta to win the national championship. Another chance to win it for the first time since 1988.
Yep.
I mean, this is, again, like I said, this is pure magic that we're watching here. And Ryan, since you've been away for a while, what's your take on everything?
Yeah, man. So, like, I think you and me talked a little bit after the NIU thing. So this season's been a bunch of highs and lows. And obviously I was at Kyle Field for the beginning of this year when we had the huge win against A&M. And I came home off that high, and I'm thinking, whatever. I'm thinking actually what the team themselves admitted they were thinking after that game, that they listened to the media and everybody else, and they were, they got too high and mighty for their own britches, and they're like, man, we're going to the playoff. That's what everybody was telling them. Might as well book your hotels, buy your playoff tickets. They were talking about that on the Peacock show, and then you have the NIU thing. And my biggest concern after the NIU loss was, obviously I was down like a lot of us were. There's a lot of frustration. There was a lot of hurt. There was a lot of pain with that game.
Yeah.
There was a lot of questions surrounding Marcus Freeman. Is he the guy? Yep. Is he the guy? There were people in the fan base that were Marcus Freeman supporters that were like, yeah, he might not be the guy. And I had questions about us playing Purdue, which is crazy to say now that where we are, because I didn't know if that was a loss that you could get up off the mat from.
Right.
And there's not enough credit in the world you could give to Marcus Freeman and his coaching staff. From NIU is the type of loss that most coaches would have lost the locker room.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been over. That would have crippled your entire season. We might as well pack it in and focus on next year. They didn't do that, but they didn't shy away from the pain and the hurt of that game. And I love what Freeman did in every single meeting, every single week leading up to a game. He would play that clip of NIU blocking the field goal to win and storming the field at their place, at their house, and letting that sink in and reminding them, this is what happens when you don't go out there and give your 110%. And to be here where we were now, if you would have told me or anybody else, they could be the biggest Notre Dame fan in the world, they would be lying through their teeth if they told you after the NIU loss, we would be playing for the national championship.
Yep.
I'm being honest. I didn't think it was going to happen.
Right.
I mean, I love this team, but it's a week to week basis, and just we were all at a very low place at that point in time, and that game showed us that we can be vulnerable if we just lax just the slightest bit.
Yep, and you know what? I think, I'll be honest, I don't know if Notre Dame is here without that loss. I think they needed it. They really, and it's sad to say, not sad to say, but like, it's kind of weird to say that, but like, they needed it. They needed it.
Yes. No, I totally agree. And I'm trying to make sure I'm actually correct on this, but I think Freeman had seen this before in a different context with the whole NIU loss. So I spent the first almost 17 years of my life right outside of Columbus, Ohio. Like, it would take you 10 minutes to get to Ohio State Stadium from where I lived. So obviously, like, the Buckeyes were always on the TV, always on the radio, wherever you went. And obviously Freeman played for the Buckeyes. Anybody that's any kind of college football fan knows that. And I'm trying to make sure I'm right, but Ohio State got boat raced in the national championship by LSU. And that next season, or in leading into the season, everybody was so, like, not happy, like, really upset, yada, 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 right? Mm-hmm. And the coach of Ohio State, and I'm blanking on who it was. I think it was still Jim Tressel at that time. Not quite sure. Literally made it where anywhere you had to go on that campus, if you were an Ohio State football player, you had to enter in the code that was the final score of the LSU national championship.
It wasn't Urban Meyer, was it?
No. It was Tressel.
Okay.
And like, that really struck a chord with those guys. And I'm pretty sure, I'm almost 100% certain that Freeman was on that squad when that happened. And he knew that, like, how that fueled, those guys. And that's what he used as fuel. And it reminds me also of the Patriots way back when they went for their second title. They won the first couple games of their season, and then they went and got like blown out by like the Browns or something like that. And like you said, you can lose a locker room and you can go down a path where you're done. And I'll never forget, like Teddy Bruschi, when he was the linebacker for him, said, we were so angry and so pissed off and so wanted to prove the world wrong that we went on a tear and then we won the whole thing. And that's exactly what's happening with Notre Dame. That is exactly what is happening with Notre Dame right now. And I feel like the NIU loss, like Ryan said, fueled the rest of this season.
The most important thing, I'm sorry, Ryan, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
The most important thing, okay, yes, we've been on a tear in the playoffs. Even going back into the regular season and all that, we've been on a tear since the NIU loss, tear in the playoffs. No, this is not enough. Keep that chip on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Even though we've had a tear in the playoffs here, there's still people that are doubting us, people that still say we don't have a chance. Well, You know what this year has been so far? And I said it at the start of the video. This has been a year of ending droughts.
Yep.
Keep that in mind. Keep that. If I'm Marcus Freeman and that team, everybody, coaches, the players, doesn't matter. Hell, it could be the freaking water boy for all I care. Keep that chip on your shoulder. Keep playing angry. Yeah, it's been great what we've done so far. You know, the win over Indiana, winning the 2 bowl games. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the end game. Keep playing angry.
And then another thing about Freeman is he knows what buttons to push with this team, which this isn't talked about enough. This guy is in his third year of being a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. Let that sink in. He's been a coordinator. You know, he's been coaching at the Power 5 level for about 15 plus years now. But to be a head coach, it's different. We see great coordinators try being head coaches all the time, and it doesn't always work out. It actually works out less than it actually works out. And he was never a head coach at any level, whether that be high school, middle school, D3, and to be at the University of Notre Dame, that is your first head coaching job.
Mm-hmm.
To me, he is way ahead of schedule as a coach. He's way ahead of schedule than and most other coaches would be at his age.
Yeah.
And that's what he knows what buttons to push. Before the Indiana game, I have people that that know people that work inside the Goog. That entire week leading up to Indiana, you know what he had playing on the big board while they practiced? Coach Signetti's comments about we're better than Notre Dame. Why should they be the ones that host? We didn't lose to NIU. That's a perfect button to push, and they had to listen to that every single day when they walked in to go to practice. And
I'm sure Franklin's comments were playing there too this week.
Yep, and you know what? I can almost guarantee you that final play against Ohio State last year, that's going to be on repeat in the good all week.
Yep.
And again, one thing I want to point out two nights ago. One play that I think defines Notre Dame, this team as a whole, and what they are about. Jeremiah Love's 2-yard touchdown run. Again, amazing play. A 2-yard touchdown run is what defines this team, and let me tell you why. Jeremiah Love had 6 guys grabbing his ankles, his legs.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, a first-round pick, and Abdul Carter was on his back, putting all his weight on him.
Yep.
He refused to go down.
Yep.
He stayed up.
And he got in the end zone and accomplished the goal.
Yep.
That is literally the brand, and that is how this team has been all year.
Yep. The grit.
No matter how much you kick them down, no matter how much you lean on them, you expect them to quit. They don't go down, and they keep getting up, and they do what they need to do to get the job done. And to mind you, Jeremiah Love did that on a bum ankle.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
he has not been 100%.
No. And you know what? He said before the game, What's the what is your goal this in this game to with the ankle and everything? I'm not going to hurdle. He hurdled.
Right.
He broke his own rule.
Right.
Like, he's
with
like,
a bum ankle.
Yep.
He's like, bullshit, I'm not hurdling.
And one thing he talked about in the post game was he told Freeman at halftime, he's like, Coach, I understand I'm hurt. You gotta let me play. Right. Because I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get my team to win. That is just a different mentality.
Yep.
That is a winning mentality.
His mentality, no, not only is it just winning, but and I'm sure all the guys on that team feel the same way. But since we're talking about Jeremiah Love, you can just see it in him that he loves this game.
Yes,
because that's where it all starts. Is you have to have love for the game. And actually, it was a former Tennessee player, Chris Treese, when he was on our late friend Big Baldaddy show some months ago. He said it the best. You have to love the game. And not in these exact words, but he's like, you have to love the game first before you can love everything else. And I'm like, that's true. Because when you love the game, you put your best effort into it, and that leads to the winning.
Right.
And Jeremiah Love, just the passion that he has and that never quit, never say die attitude. Oh, yeah. Even in a 2-yard touchdown run, you see that.
Yeah.
No.
It's insane.
And it's crazy to think that was a great play. That's not even his best play of the season.
Right.
And that to me, that was his defining moment as a player. That tells you all you need to know. If you could show somebody that has never watched college football before, doesn't know who Jeremiah Love is, and you just show him that play and ask him, what do you think this guy is about? Anybody could tell you what that guy's about.
Right. Yep.
Oh yes. Now with this game, guys, we could do what we normally do and talk about numbers all day long.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, what this game all came down to, because let's be real, this was a pretty evenly matched game because both teams were making mistakes. Both teams at times were getting pushed around. I know we certainly were in the first half. Our defensive line getting pushed around, and their running backs basically just falling forward and getting 5 or 6 yards, and it was troubling for a while. Riley Leonard throws 2 picks that were both just bad, but Aller did the same thing. This really was an evenly matched game, and it was just a matter. It all came down to the case of something's got to give.
Yeah.
And we were kind of proven wrong because we always said that usually whoever makes the less mistakes, the less turnovers, wins the game. Kind of wasn't the case here.
Yeah, but there was also, the turnovers was an interesting situation in this game because of how it happened and when it happened and where it happened. Riley Leonard obviously had 2 interceptions. Drew Allar had 1, but Allar's came at the very end of the game, put us basically in field goal range, so, and there were some stuff that was happening throughout the game that either it wasn't called or it was called, there was holding and stuff, and that interception in the end zone that ended up getting nullified from Notre Dame, because that would have been 2 instead of 1 at that point, and then it would have been a tie for turnovers in the game if that hadn't been nullified. You can say that Penn State didn't make as many mistakes as we did, and we won the game still, but I feel like there were just as many mistakes made by Penn State as there was by Notre Dame.
No, when you look at it that way, that does kind of even itself out.
And we did just, we eked it out. And that's, win by a mile, win by a yard, a win's a win. So,
well, and also another big factor, and I know everyone's been talking about this to death, but when you look at Drew Allar's passing numbers, it's crazy to think that not one pass was completed to a wide receiver. It was all tight ends and running backs.
But, I
know Tyler Warren. He's a different type of tight end. He's
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, every time he got the ball, my God, it was like, all right, like, not to sound terrible, but can like someone like take him out, please? Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys. So, and then he did get hurt though. I will say, like, he had almost the exact same situation that Leonard had, where he hit his head, and you were like, oh shit, like he might be out for the rest of the game. So,
well, and speaking of getting hurt, when Riley was out with concussion protocol, another guy that you got to tip your hat off to is Stephen Jelly.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
and
those
this too
points were so huge for us.
Yeah. Well, and like with that situation, I mean, he really didn't look lost at all. And now it's like, national championship appearance aside, what happens in spring ball? Like, I mean, because now it's when Angeli's been given opportunities, he's done a pretty good job thriving. So he's going to challenge CJ Carr in the spring. Like, it'll be real interesting to see what happens with that. But yeah, like this team, like you guys were saying, they have this grit that, you get your back up against the wall and it seems like you're in trouble and it's over, because we were down by 10 points at one point, and you know what everybody's thinking. All right, this could be it. Like, we could be going down a path. We've seen this before where, it doesn't bode well, but then the team figures it out, and we did. So it's going to bring a different dimension to this upcoming national championship against Ohio State.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, again, shout out to Angeli for doing that. I mean, he came in, he was ready. He didn't look too scared of the moment or anything. But yeah, I mean, this team, like you said, it's been a next man up mentality. It's been a gritty mentality, and the fall off, when we lose a guy like a Riley Mills or a Ben Morrison, has been. There's obviously going to be some form of fall off, but to see it be a team effort and kind of guys step up, like a Leonard Moore and a Gabriel Rubio, like that's just that's insane to me. And one thing I want to point out is we didn't play. If you graded Notre Dame's performance in that Penn State game, again, credit to Penn State because a lot of it has to do with them. But I don't think we played even our A game. We didn't play our B game. Probably a C- game. Like, just if you take the first half, which to me was probably about an F or a D.
Yep.
And we still came out on top.
Yeah, offensive wise, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's pretty.
Defense fair. The defense held its own for the most part. But yeah, no, I agree. And yeah, it's crazy to think because think if we had been on it, like if we had played the way that we played against Georgia in the Penn State game, it would never have been a game.
Mm-hmm.
No, it would never have come down to that, having to kick a game-winning field goal situation.
I mean, we lost the turnover margin. Think about this. So Notre Dame, when we win the turnover margin, we're undefeated. The only time that we lost was to NIU when we lost turnover margin.
Right.
So we lost the turnover margin, and we still won. Riley didn't play near his best game. We still won.
Yep.
Like, this is a team that just knows how to win.
Yes.
And that speaks volumes because you know what? That's another thing that gives me confidence going into this game, this national championship, is this team, no matter what the stakes are, no matter what's going on in the game, they are proven that they are going to do whatever it takes to win.
Yep.
And they've got the tools to do it as well. And also another unsung hero of the Orange Bowl, and I got to pull his stats up, but how about Jaden Greathouse, man?
Yes.
The big breakout career, and what a time to have it.
Catches that he had,
Thy house is great. I mean, that play where at first I thought he just put one DB on the ground. When I saw the replay and off the line of scrimmage, just juked the DB out of his socks and then caught the ball and made he made the safety, was it Reed, made him sit down and have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Like that was just that was nasty. Like I don't he's the first Notre Dame receiver I've seen do something like that since probably Will Fuller. Like that was insane.
Well, and not just that touchdown catch, not just that, but he came up in the clutch 2 times on 3rd down for us. On the drive that I think it was it the one that gave us the lead 17-10?
Yeah, it was. Yep.
Because he came up with a huge 3rd down catch that kept the drive alive. And then even when we were driving for the game-winning field goal on the 3rd and 3, he came up with a big catch that not only got us the 1st down, but got us closer to Jeter's range. So he's definitely one of the unsung heroes of that game on Thursday night.
One thing that made me kind of think about it more was, you know, there's a narrative that we just don't have good receivers, and I've always been a believer of Jaden Greathouse. I was like, why haven't we used this kid more? Right. That's what I was thinking after this game. I'm like, 100 yards, 7 catches, you know, the touchdown he had. He's a clutch playmaker. Well, why haven't we been using this kid more, man?
I can say it with this year, and this is not a knock on him, but Riley Leonard is not a deep threat quarterback. I think that's a big part of it. And that's not a knock on Riley. He's done what's been asked of him. But, you know, he's not going to be like, you know, your John Elway or your Dan Marino type quarterback where he's heaving the ball and taking a shot 50 yards at a time. So I think that's been a big part of it. Sam Hartman so far has been his best opportunity, but, well, that didn't exactly work out too well. But I think with Greathouse and his speed and his concentration and his hands, you get a guy in there next year like an Angeli or a CJ Carr, whoever starts. I still think CJ Carr will get the nod. You guys make a great point. It could be Angeli, who knows? But I don't want to look too far into the future. But you get a quarterback like that in there, we're going to see this kid explode.
Yeah.
So that's my take on Greathouse.
Yeah, I mean, and overall, you know, like this team did what it had to do, and at the times that they had to make the plays, they made the plays. You know, like Greathouse making catches, Mitch Jeter making the field goal, Jeremiah Love with the runs that he had. Jadarian Price had some good runs that he had to get, you know, going on stuff. Riley Leonard with the grit that he had in a couple clutch situations. I mean, just like in past years where you wouldn't see that happen, it's happened. And that's what makes this so much different and so special. And, you know, people are, like you guys brought up earlier, they're still doubting. They're still saying, you know, Notre Dame doesn't belong and Ohio State's going to kill them and yada, yada, yada. But, man, like, the winner between Ohio State and Texas, and obviously it was Ohio State, but it added a whole nother section of motivation on top of you're in the national championship and you're going to win the national championship because the last time that you played both of these squads, you lost to them. Like, I mean, so it's awesome. Look
at Ohio State. Awesome. We have not beaten them since the 30s.
Right. Well, and then, like I said, the last time we played Texas too.
Yeah, it was a close loss, but yeah, we did
won. You know, and a win's a win. So, you know, I was like, extra motivation, man. Like, not only is it winning the national championship, but it's like, screw these guys. You know, they got us last time. Let's give them some payback.
Yeah,
y'all give them payback to win the national title over them too. You know, so yeah, it's
the motivation is there, the anger is there, which you need to play.
That's why I love Jeremiah Love's comments immediately after winning the Orange Bowl. First thing on his mind wasn't, hey, you know, let's party. We just won the Orange Bowl. We're going to the national championship. Wasn't, man, like, this is great. First thing out of his mouth, I want to play Ohio State.
Great.
Like, it's business. I want to play Ohio State.
Right.
And they're like, well, why? Well, I think they're the best team that's left. I think they're going to beat Texas, and we should have beat them last year.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
that to me, that tells you where the mindset of this team is. Like they're not satisfied right now.
Nope.
Like, and you know what? That's why me as a fan, I was selfishly wanting Ohio State to win. I don't like Ohio State. I hated rooting for them, but it's because this Notre Dame team, they feed off of, revenge. And when they have motivation, that's when they come out. Marcus Freeman's undefeated in revenge games. You saw what happened to USC when that happened, when what we did to Caleb Williams, and then when we got our chance to get payback. You saw what happened to Louisville this year.
Right. Yeah. Well, and like,
Well, I was at that USC game last year, so yeah, I saw it up close and personal.
if we beat Ohio State, because like I'm not going to say like it's going to happen,
Yeah.
I'm going to be that guy. But if we beat Ohio State, there is no narrative that you can spin against Notre Dame. There's none, because Ohio State up to this point, okay, other than the Michigan game, has looked downright unstoppable. Like Oregon and Ohio State, when that first matchup that they had in the regular season and stuff, that was a back and forth game. There were a couple calls on both sides. They were real iffy, controversial, that kind of stuff. But since then, and they got into the playoffs after that Michigan game, Ohio State has beaten every team they've played so far by double digits. And even if we win by 3 points against Ohio State, you can't say anything. Like there's nothing, because now you stop the team that has looked downright unstoppable for the most part in the playoffs. I mean, So where's your argument? You don't got one. You don't got one. This isn't like when Michigan won the national title last year, where it was, you played a really easy schedule, and the only team you really beat that had any kind of pulse was Ohio State, and then you got Alabama on a down year, and Washington really wasn't that great of an opponent in the national championship.
FedEx was hurt.
Like that. I mean, everybody's pretty much healthy for the Buckeyes. They've beaten everybody double digits.
Yep.
You beat Ohio State, there is nothing that anybody can say about anything.
And that's why I love this 12-team playoff, because I think this is the BCS was nice. The voting era was, it was what it was. The 4-team was okay.
Yep.
I think with the 12-team, you get a legitimate national championship. I'm not taking anything away from everybody else that won those other eras.
Yeah.
But this is different. To me, this is the hardest path to a national championship that a team will have had to go through in college football history. You're mean to tell me you got to win 4 games in a row against teams that are all playoff caliber teams?
Right.
That to me is harder than anything you could ever do. And what's crazy to think is that if this was the 14 model, Notre Dame wouldn't be here. Notre Dame wouldn't even got a shot, by the way. Ohio State wouldn't have got a shot.
Nope. Yeah.
Like that's the crazy part of all this. We wouldn't be seeing this right now.
Yeah. If you think 14 model, I would say it would probably have been Georgia
and Oregon,
and then it would have been maybe Penn State, as the third team in that 4-team playoff. Boise State would be there probably automatically just because they were the at-large. So it's like there'd be a lot of teams that weren't there that are in here now. So it's interesting.
But it makes you wonder how many years that we had the BCS or the 14 model, whereas like teams that weren't ranked 1, 2, 3, or 4,
right,
that could have won a national championship.
Well, look at the year that, and this is one of the biggest ones I bring up for that past era. Look at when Utah beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl, went undefeated. Like they could have easily, in my opinion, been a national championship or a national champion. Because I mean, not only did they beat Alabama, I mean they obliterated Alabama in the So it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy that now this is how it's going. And I feel like the FCS level has had it right for a long while, and I wish we would have caught up to them when it comes to playoffs.
Yeah.
Years ago.
And the great thing about this format is it throws out all the hypothetical BS nonsense that a lot of people like to use. And when we just found out through this 12-team playoff that Notre Dame and Ohio State are the number 1 and the number 2 teams in the nation.
Right.
Like, that's what we found out. And heading into this, you were talking about the number 5 team in the country according to the rankings, and the number 7 team.
Right.
So teams that would not have even got a shot wouldn't have been considered one or two. So I mean, it's a legitimate national championship, like you said, Ben. If Notre Dame wins this, there is no taking it away.
Yeah.
No, you can't. You can't. So, well, on that note, guys, we've had a pretty good discussion here. It's a great Orange Bowl win for the Irish, and like I said, we take home 2 major bowl trophies in the same season, which is a lot of making up for lost time. But we're not done yet.
Yeah,
we got one more for revenge, and one more to break that national championship drought, which is at 36 years.
All right, 60 more minutes. We are 60 more minutes of FU football away, right? Yep. 60 more minutes of FU football away from a national championship.
Yeah, and that's I'm glad you said what you just said, because, dude, okay, we'll address this real quick.
Sure.
If people have an issue with that, please go watch ballet, like, for real. I mean, the fact that there are people in our fan base that are like, "Oh, Coogan shouldn't be saying anything like that. He just has such a bad mouth." Like, come on. Like, give me a freaking break. Yes, I get that we're a Catholic institution. I understand that. I get all that. But, like, come on for a second. Like, come on.
This is not
here. Like,
this is not ballet. This is not golf. This is not, the theater or whatever. This is football.
Yeah,
it's a man's game.
Man. You have a bad shot, and there's some. Yeah.
Oh, like, for the record, guys. For the record, guys are going to swear. People in general swear. Why everyone was on who was it? Pat Coogan. That was the pregame speech. Why everybody was on his ass? I don't know why.
Right.
They're words. You obviously haven't never played athletics and never been in the locker room to know how passionate guys, how passionate athletes are.
Well, and God forbid you'd be on the sideline and hear what's being said there too.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what? When I played football, I think Ryan, you played football, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we all played football here on the screen. Now, I don't know how good you guys were. I was a backup. I was not great. But, man, let me tell you something. What those coaches said to us, holy hell.
Oh, no, Sean, our coaches said to us wasn't nearly as bad as what you heard on the actual high school football field.
Oh, yeah.
Man, high school kids are ruthless, man.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, guys, we are going on 40 minutes here, and it's a great discussion. But you know what people say? If you guys are too long, we're not going to watch.
Right.
But
I roll.
It's a shame, too, that people that say that, because this has been a damn good discussion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great discussion. And well, listen, we'll save most of the Ohio State stuff for the preview for that game when it comes around.
Yep.
And I think this is actually a good place to end things for the time being. But again, Ryan, thank you so much for being able to come back and talk with us about this game and how awesome it was. And it's like I said at the start, man. And Ben, I'm saying it to you as well. This is just pure magic.
Yes.
That we're watching right now. This is something that I have not seen in a long time. But this is the first time in a long time where I see it. I mean, I've seen magic before, but this is the first time where, like I said, I'm seeing magic, but it does feel like we can.
It feels different.
It's very different.
Yeah.
It's very different. And so, with that said, is there anything else that you guys would like to add?
Nope.
Well, as you guys know, I'll be in Atlanta for the national championship game. So I'll make sure that I bring home a championship. And I'll be making sure I wear my lucky hat this time because I bought this hat this year,
Dude,
and I think I told Sean this story. I've wore this hat since A&M, and the only game I didn't wear it for was the NIU game. I've wore it every other game, and and we've won. I'm bringing it with me. Yes, I'm bringing it with me to Atlanta.
Yep.
So we should win.
Gotta be in like a padlocked box.
Yeah.
You travel. Like that needs to be treated like the freaking Tesseract from freaking Captain America and stuff. Like, so yeah, no, I'm right there with you, Ryan. Like, I have not changed anything like Notre Dame wise, like on my profile. I've worn the exact same outfit, and I was really freaking worried. I'm not gonna lie. I'll tell you this is a great end to the video for Penn State. I was super freaking worried because like I went to the gym and I was in a super big hurry morning of the Penn State game, and my jersey slipped off of my bag in the house. And I wore it to work the last two games. Like I wore it to work for the Indiana game, and I wore it to work for the Georgia game. And I didn't wear it to work for Penn State, and I was so upset. Like I was so freaking upset. And I was like, oh man, like if we lose this game. So I haven't changed anything. Nothing. Like no no cover photo, like nothing. So yeah, man, like I feel you. I totally feel you. That jersey has been worn every game so far in the playoffs. It is being worn again. It hasn't been washed. It hasn't like nope. So
Ben,
I feel you.
Wash the damn thing, okay?
Yeah. Hey, so if we
I haven't spilled anything on it, it's not like I was like legit. I mean, I guess I was sweating a little bit, like in the stressful moments, but it wasn't like I was running around outside in it or anything. So.
Well, see, I have to wash this jersey. I've had this since 2015, this exact same jersey. I have to wash it though because when I'm watching the game with my dad and my brothers, they all smoke, so I'm kind of left with no choice.
Yeah.
If we win the Natty, I'll make sure that this hat, like it will never be washed.
Yeah.
I'll probably put it in like a glass case.
Yep.
Like it's got to be immortalized, and I'll make sure that it gets recognized by the University of Notre Dame as a national champion hat.
No. Have them put it in their trophy case.
Right.
Yeah, give the hat a ring. All right.
Right. We'll get the priest at the basilica to bless it and stuff. Yep. Yep.
Oh man,
it becomes a holy relic.
Yep.
Yeah. It should be like how popes are always like past popes are always what is it, ordained with a miracle or something like that.
Right.
I'm not overly familiar. Just that hat alone would have its own miracle.
Yeah. By the way, quick question before we end this.
Sure.
If we do win the national championship, do we send NIU a national championship ring, like just as like a thank you?
I saw somebody post that, like something similar to that.
Yep.
No, I wouldn't because they already have a plaque of us in their what's it called, the boneyard or whatever.
The boneyard.
That's good enough for them.
Yeah,
that's good enough for them. They didn't do us any favors after they beat us.
Yeah.
It's not like they became that group of 5 team,
Yeah.
So just let them have our name in their boneyard.
Wasn't that like the next week?
Yeah.
Beating us. I was like,
yeah.
Really, guys? Really?
Well, you saw what I don't know if you guys saw. You saw what Thomas Hammock posted after we beat Penn State, right? He posted a picture of him and his dad.
Yeah.
And he said #Go Irish. Like my dad always told me that sharing is caring or something like that. And it was like because he gave he talked to Freeman and gave him information like about how they beat him and all that stuff. I'm like, I love that, man. Just give him a ring. He's part of the team already, man.
You know what? Just give him a Wendy's gift card. He'll be good. I don't know. It's like I said, our name is already in their so-called boneyard. What more do they need? So it's like
They're
a
gonna
Walmart
put like
gift
a
card.
little like they'll put a little itty bitty other plaque below it because then it will like if we win the national title because then it will be only team to beat the national champion.
They'll get one of those little miniature versions of the national championship trophy,
Right.
like the $80 one you can buy.
Right.
Yeah, we'll give them one of those.
Yeah.
Or how about a deli platter or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
A thank you card.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
all right.
I'll sign the damn thank you card. Like, I mean, we, like, I don't care. My name on it. Like, that's fine.
Yeah. I guess. Well, look, guys. I think that's a good place to end it. Otherwise, we can make these jokes forever. So, yeah, this has been a great discussion, and I look forward to talking more with you guys for the week of the national championship. Should be a lot of fun, and this is our chance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, on that note, everyone, thank you for watching. I am Sean Moriarty.
I'm Benjamin Walters.
And I am Ryan Prevel.
And this has been the Two Irish Brothers Orange Bowl post game. And as we always say, good night, God bless, and go Irish.
Go Irish.
Go Irish.